Good morning or afternoon. Afternoon. Good afternoon. For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Pastor Rick Cavens. I used to be the kid down the street at the Lutheran church for 10 years. And thankfully and nicely, the folks here at First Presbyterian asked me to help them out every once in a while, and I'm glad to do so because, like Pat Biss, this is a great church with good people, and I've always enjoyed sharing with them. On behalf of the family, I want to say thank you for being here. It's important that you're here because when they look out, they see in your eyes the memory of Pat Biss, and that's important. And you're also going to be their comfort in the future, even those that are watching on TV or their computers. I expect you and I call you to a month from now, 6 months from now, even a year from now, send a text, send an email, find some way of saying, I was thinking about Patricia, and this is what I remember about her and how she blessed my life. Little things like that are really important, and you're the ministers. You're the ones to do it. So thank you again for being here. Were you going to play some music? Annika has got everything figured out. But you look confident, and I like confident young people. I met with the family on Super Bowl Sunday. Um, we both took time out of a busy day when we should have been focusing on the Seahawks. It turned out okay. My wife was late picking me up, so they had to put up with me for the first quarter of the Seahawks game. But I needed that as a pastor who had never met Patricia. I needed to see through their memories and through what they saw as important who Pat was. And they brought her to life for me. And many of you in this room know her, and I've heard you say she was an amazing, powerful Christian woman. She was an amazing and powerful wife, and you have to be to keep lawyers in line and tell them what they're supposed to be about doing. But I even saw more. I saw a lot more. And there were two things that really impacted me. This woman bought and owned a 59 MG in Anchorage. And I know, according to another friend of mine, Jerry Wolf, who just died, they didn't have paved roads in Alaska, in Anchorage, at that time, except the paved road started where the Dodge and the Chevy dealerships are now. And they got those paved roads so the dealerships could drive a smooth test drive with a car, which told me that this woman, this adventurous, she took that MG on dirt roads, through snow, through everything, and that said to me who she was. She may have been quiet. She may have been that silent strength behind everything, but she was a real Alaskan. And we know people today that go, oh, there's 2 inches of snow on the road. I don't know if I should go out. And that's probably from a 17-year-old boy. Powerful woman. And you still have the car, correct? Isn't that amazing? What a treasure. The second thing that hit me about who this woman was and where I really connected with her, I'm an art major. During the pipeline construction, I was up here as an art teacher. And I know what it is to have something in your mind, a vision, a dream, an understanding, that when you paint or draw, you're touching the creativity only slightly of God. You come closer to what it was like for God to create this beautiful and amazing world, as we'll read in Psalm 121. I look to the hills. Where does my salvation come from? It comes from the Lord. When you're painting or listening to amazing, beautiful music, you do touch the hem of Jesus' cloak, and you are healed because you find hope. You find community. You find friendship and family. And that's what Pat did. The creative side of her not only let her paint, not only let her enjoy music or the words of people that are amazing and creative, it allowed her to see visions from God so that she could turn around and paint all of you with love Through her paintbrush of cooking, she painted you with the love she had for you and the love she had for Christ. With her paintbrush of love, she created a beautiful family. She created in her mind how she could be a part of this congregation for many, many years. Shirley just told me that she and Patricia would sit in the back pew and tell stories and chat and dream of what First Pres was all about, which is the people. She touched the hem of God through that. Now, one of the texts that is read will be from the Gospel of John, and it's the Last Supper. And Thomas says, I got a headache thinking about this. You said that you're going to die and be treated poorly by horrible people. Where are you going? And Jesus looked at Thomas and said, you know where I'm going. I'm going to a place and I'm going to prepare, and I paraphrase here a bit, a room for you, a log cabin, a place where you will be comfortable, where you feel you belong, where you, even in death, can look across the street and see those friends and those family members that have gone on before you. And Jesus will probably let her drive that MG even in heaven. But the roads will be golden, right? No bumps. No problems with a carburetor. It will be a blessing. That is what we're going to look for today as we hear the family talk about their matriarch. We're going to see the heavens open up to us, just as Thomas asked for. Because we know where she is going. Her baptismal certificate's at the door. No doubt. With your memories, you know where she is going, and it's heaven. And the Presbyterians, I'm sure, are in the front pews. Lutherans are always in the back. And all the others will be there. Because we love one person first, and that is Jesus Christ. Again, I say to you, thank you for being here. Amazing Grace.
A Psalm of David. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
Hello. Oh my gosh, I've never spoken at a pulpit before. This is new. Okay. Good afternoon. You all may know me as Annika Biss, or the granddaughter of Patricia Biss. We are here today to honor her remarkable life of Patty Biss, known as Patty to those dear to her. She was an exceptional woman whose intellect, curiosity, and generosity left an indelible mark on all who knew her. At 89 years, she embodied a rare combination, a sharp, analytical mind tempered with warmth, humor, and a profound dedication to family. Patty was a lifelong learner. Her love of PBS, British mysteries, and, my personal favorite, The Great British Baking Show, reflected not only her appreciation for storytelling and culture, but also her meticulous attention to detail and delight in complexity, never missing a single grammatical error. She approached life much like she approached a crossword puzzle, with patience, intelligence, and determination to uncover the patterns and meaning beneath the surface, even though she did not understand over half of our modern pop culture references. Yet, for all her intellect, her true passion was family. Her visiting her home in Wassunga was always an exercise in joy, family, and tradition. Christmas was especially memorable. We would gather together, hanging bows on a cobblestone wall, a simple act that became a tradition of decoration and joy to Patty. I recall her asking, are you going to put up the bows yet? It's not even Thanksgiving yet. But it was always fun. In the fall, we picked apples to transform into applesauce, cider, and pie filling, not merely for sustenance, but as a shared labor of love with family. Every year, Patty enjoyed watching us pick apples through her window, describing it as an occasion that brought her much joy and, yes, countless gallons of fresh cider. Patty's life was a testament to the beauty of thoughtful engagement with ideas, people, and the world around her. She demonstrated that learning is not a finite pursuit, but a lifelong endeavor, that curiosity is a virtue, and that intelligence is most admirable when it serves the enrichment of others. She once gave me a book that I still have, called Study is Hard Work, that I have implemented in my educational life, and whenever I think about it or see it in my bookshelf, I am reminded of her wisdom and advice. Though her passing leaves a void, we can take comfort in the legacies she cultivated, the stories she told, the traditions she created, and the example of a life lived deliberately, generously, and with unwavering integrity. Patty's influence endures in the habits, passions, and values she instilled in everyone she met, and in the subtle ways she shaped our appreciation for life, knowledge, and family. I remember that we would come through her front door to hear classical music playing from the radio and seeing her greet us, a ritual, "Hi, Grandma," followed by a hug and a rush to get to her first, which I usually won. Grandma, thank you for every apple picked, every bow put on the wall, every conversation shared, and every lesson imparted, often quietly but always profoundly. Your life reminded us that wisdom and love are inseparable, and that even the smallest acts, when imbued with care, are the most enduring. We will carry you with us, always in memory, in tradition, and whenever we see a baker make ganache on PBS.
Okay. I have lots of props here. Welcome. Thanks for coming. I'm Shelley Biss, the wife of Allison Biss. Oh, Patty was my mother-in-law. If you asked me to describe Patty in 5 minutes or less, I wouldn't start with dates or accomplishments. I would start with a picture. Patty was never without something growing, something cooking, or something reading. She loved her plants, especially her herbs. Basil was practically a member of the family. She made the best tomato salads, cucumber salads, and anything that let fresh herbs shine. Cooking for her wasn't just about feeding people. It was about caring for them. She had a special relationship with potatoes. Bert didn't like rice, thank you, Navy years. So Patty mastered every possible version of the potato. Potato salad, roasted potatoes, mashed potatoes. We planted them with the dinkles down the road, dug them up once a year, saved seed potatoes for the next season, and stored the rest in the barn to last all year. And of course, she gifted them. If you stopped by, you might leave with potatoes, whether you needed them or not. That was Patty. She was a generation that believed love should be tangible. She always wanted something ready to give. Apple pie filling, apple sauce, apple butter. We made it by the truckload so she'd never be empty-handed when someone she loved came by. She was never without a book or two or three. She loved mysteries, stories about small towns, British history, Alaskan history, and wonderfully random subjects. She laughed out loud at British comedies and loved a good masterpiece theater. And if Pavarotti or Bocelli was involved, all the better. When she cooked, Jeopardy often played in the background. She'd shout answered from the kitchen. We joked that if we ever played Trivial Pursuit, the whole family would have to team up against Patty, and we'd probably lose. She knew things. She spelled things correctly. She wrote with precision. She typed at superhero speed. Her notes were legendary. We had a running joke, "Let's eat, Grandma," versus "Let's eat, Grandma." Punctuation saves lives. She'd laugh every time. And yet, as organized and capable as she was in these last years, the tables turned a little. The kids helped with papers and sorting and organizing. Love was coming back around in the most practical, beautiful way. Annika once made her a paperclip garden. I have it right here. It's for Grandma's paper clips. With a rose, and Patty kept it right on the counter because she understood something important. The smallest things given in love are never small. Toward the end, Patty wrote notes to herself about simplifying. We'd see them all over this little simplifying book with all of her notes. Patty wrote notes to herself about simplifying, about uncluttering, about being more efficient, about being ready. But underneath all of those reminders was something deeper. What she hoped most was that she had shown up well and cared well. There's a poem that captures this season of life. I found it in a file, all of her files, shortly after she passed. She had a few copies along with other poems of motherhood. I'd like to read it as I think it incorporated the essence of how she thought and felt. It's from 1998 from Ann Landers, shortly after Al graduated college and the year I moved to Alaska. It says, "To my children, when I spill some food on my nice clean dress, or maybe forget to tie my shoe, please be patient and perhaps reminisce the many hours I spent with you when I taught you how to eat with care, plus tying laces and your numbers too. Dressing yourself and combing your hair, those were precious hours I spent with you. So when I forget what was I about to say, just give me a minute, or maybe two. It probably wasn't important anyway, and I would much rather listen just to you. If I tell a story one more time, and you know the ending through and through, please remember your first nursery rhyme when I rehearsed it 100 times with you. When my legs are tired and it's hard to stand, or walk the steady pace that I would like to do, please be careful with my hand and guide me now as I often did with you." I think Patty understood both sides of that exchange. She gave care freely in the first half of her life, and in the end, she received it with grace. Patty loved Bert deeply, truly deeply. She spent hours in the kitchen making his favorite foods. She arranged their life with care and intention. She followed him to Oregon to help with the ranch, even though Alaska had her heart. She guarded their home, welcomed his friends endlessly, and gave generously of herself. Bert made her life bigger, louder, and fuller. She might have rolled her eyes sometimes, but she loved it. Near the end, they held hands for hours. They showed us what a real marriage looked like. Knowing yourself, knowing each other, loving without measure, giving even when it costs something. It was beautiful to witness. Patty loved the finer things in life: art, music, beauty. She ordered crystal and glass with intention. She supported the Metropolitan Opera and the Metropolitan Museum of Art. She studied art in Florence, something she cherished all her life. She sculpted, painted, wrote stories, and admired beauty wherever she found it. One of our first bonds was discovering that we both studied art and opera in Florence, Italy. From then on, we shared articles, conversations, and endless enthusiasm for Renaissance art and music. She loved her grandchildren fiercely. She kept everything they made. We were going through some things last night, and we even found this scribble. It says Annika. And this scribble, I love you. She kept absolutely everything. Good Patty fashion. Every drawing, every craft. She baked cakes with Annika and had tea parties and watched David with that knowing smile, probably remembering what it was like to raise Allison. I want to thank her for the way she loved her son. She raised a good, hardworking man, someone who gives back to his community and always reaches for the better. She loved him fiercely. And because she loved him that way, he loves me that way. For that, I will always be grateful. One of Patty's most beautiful qualities was her wisdom about when to speak and when not to. As I found my way as a wife and a mother, she never overstepped. She gave me grace. When I asked, she taught. She shared Martha Stewart. I shared Cooking Light. She shared her love of plants. I killed most of mine. She took me to the opera when I was younger. Later, I took her. We hummed Mozart and Carmen in the kitchen. She sent me home with recipes I promptly burned. She loved me anyway. She had a feisty side, too. After all, this was the woman who brought an MGA Roadster to drive up the Alcan Highway. That spark showed up in her opinions, in the news, in moments of spontaneity. As I suspect her book club friends saw that often. The laugh till you cry, loyal, anything for a friend, Patty. If I had to say one thing about Patty, it's this: she showed up, and she cared. She loved well. She gave generously. She noticed the small things. She made beauty practical and love visible. And if you ever left her house with food in your hands, a book recommendation, or a warm feeling in your heart, then you knew Patty. We were lucky to love her. We will carry her with us in gardens and in kitchens and in music, in paperclip roses and in gentle hands held at the right moment for the rest of our lives. Today, as she is with the Lord, I hope she feels complete peace, completely known and completely accepted. I hope she is reunited with those she loved, and I hope she is seeing beauty now multiplied beyond anything we can imagine.
I'm Allison Biss, Patty's son, and I should have written this on Post-it notes. I think it really like something that Mom would have done. She was an amazing organizer. She helped run a law office for 40 years, running everything in particular, specific order, keeping everything organized. That was a strength that she had. I've got a stick of gum and some Kleenex. Something she always, something she always had on her and was ready with it. People have talked about her adventurous spirit. and part of it comes from her childhood. She would go where her father was sent all over Alaska, growing up in Ruby, Cantwell, all over the state, wherever they were sent. She talks about how her younger brother Jim, when they were growing older as kids, really missed the salmon that they had in Ruby that had the white streaks on it because it tasted better. That's the drying fish where the birds would visit it. So experiences like that growing up. During World War II, they shipped her back to Spokane because there wasn't many civilians in Alaska at that point to go to school for a while, and then came back up here to be class of 1955 at Anchorage High School before there was multiple schools in town. Mentioned the MGA. She described as she signed her life away and bought that car. Drove it back to school in Washington, then back up. We've talked about her love for art and beauty. She always seemed to have an eye for fashion and beauty and art. In fact, she got this tie for me years ago, so I thought it'd be appropriate to wear it. She had a love for music, as has been described, and anytime you went in the house, usually 98.1, the classical music station would be on. That's something we'll miss, is listening to her at Goodfellow in the mornings. Also talked about books, which was an absolute passion of hers. She'd always have several books that she'd be reading at a time. And her book club was something that she was extremely passionate about and extremely happy with. I remember talking to her most mornings. She'd either be talking about the book club meeting that they had, talking about the book club meeting coming up, or the books that they were reading. One of the things she was most excited about was during COVID, when everything was locked down, they decided to have a book club meeting in the parking lot of the house. Each had their own chair. It was proper social distancing, but they got to get together and have a meeting, and it was really special for her. She really appreciated that. She was great with connections. She'd make a deep, deep friendship. It would be over sitting at the table at the kitchen, looking over the flats, having coffee, and chatting. Be it Janice talking about bees and life, her friend Clarice studying to pass her citizenship exam, or even talking to their old friend Levon from elementary school, who had moved away but were still close, or her friend Stephanie, where they'd worked together for years and still like family. Friends like Ronnie and Sharon Bell, who over the years were always close by. Anytime something was needed or needed to be checked on, they were there to help. Now, a few years ago, we had a pretty good earthquake here, and that helped me realize why my mom absolutely hated earthquakes. After living through the '64 quake and watching the air traffic control tower fall over, apparently that affects a person. So, every time a bad earthquake happened, I know Jack Snodgrass would call her and check on her to make sure she was okay. Those are the type of friends she had. They'd reach out, and she'd reach out to them. It was a few days after she turned 89. She passed away, surrounded by friends, family, in the house she loved, quietly, of ways to go. That's probably the best one. Thank you.
Is there anyone that would like to come on up to the mic?
Hi, everyone. My name is Clarisse. I met Patricia. Sorry for my English, because actually I met Patricia when I first came here, moved in Wasilla, coming directly from France. And that was a few years ago, 6 years ago. And we became too close. She became my refuge. We were chatting almost every day, doing so much stuff together. Most of the time, she would say, Clarice, let's go get some latte, going everywhere. I mean, Palma, even in Anchorage. We spent so much time together. She was a wonderful woman. She was. I mean, I remember when I first moved here, sometimes I was depressed. She would always hug me, give me a hug, tell me how long she been here in Wasilla, more than 50 years. I will miss her so much. I still miss her. So since she was my refuge, Patricia. We spent so much time talking, most of the time together. I don't know. Actually, I wrote something for her, but I will not be able to read it. No. I will miss her. I'll miss her so much. I think all my relatives know her, my friend, even my granddaughter. Sorry.
Tears and sadness are proof positive of love, so it's okay. Anyone else wish to speak?
My name is Dave. I had the opportunity to cut the hay at the Biss family farm. One of the things that I really enjoyed about going over to the farm was meeting, talking, and being around Bert and Patty. When I went over there, it was always so peaceful and quiet. And then I would start my tractor and assault the environment around there and scare all the animals away. And I'd take a break and I'd go in the house and talk with Bert and Patty, and time just went away. It was just so relaxing to talk with them and be around them, and it always made me feel good to be around people like that. Thanks.
I won't use the mic, but just something a little lighthearted. Patty and Bert were our neighbors. Well, my neighbors for 48 years, but my husband's family a lot longer than that because they moved down there before Bert and Patty. But first daughter, and I was so excited to take her trick or treating. She was 2 months old, and I had her all dressed up in a little snowsuit with bunny ears, and we didn't have many people in our subdivision back then, so I had to hit Bert and Patty's house. She was so excited. And from then on, we ended up having 4 daughters. And we take them down there every Halloween. And she was so sweet. She'd call me a few days ahead of time and say, and you guys are kind of the only children that ever trick-or-treat us. And of course, our kids are good, because Patty spare not spent, she'd buy those giant candy bars or a whole bag of candy for each child. And so, they never left them off the trick-or-treat list. And then our children settled around us and had their kids, and they were taking the grandkids down there. And Patty would still have to hide this from Bert, but I wish when I say come down and trick-or-treat us, because we don't get trick-or-treaters. So that's kind of a fond memory we have of the two of them, is that they always were prepared to convince the girls to come down and trick or treat, and our kids still talk about it today. They were great neighbors. I'm Lynn Woods Miller. So much of my life, my teens through my 20s into my early 30s was involved or twined with Bert and Patty's life. We spent a lot of time there. I watched that house being built, the well that burned, second well that they had to drill. Babysat Allison occasionally. It just seems like there was always something that I was doing or my family was doing with Bert and Patty. We were there alone. As I got busier, my life got busier, stayed in touch, but not the same way. I'm older, my kids are away, I have more time, contacted them a little bit more, I started showing up more often. In random phone calls with Patty, we discussed the affairs of the world, and always the books, again, always books. And Allison, Shelley, I'm so sorry for your loss. I'm so sorry for all that she was truly a life.
I'm going to be the bad guy. Please come to the mic and speak for two reasons. Some of us don't hear very well and need the amplification. The second is we have people online. They won't hear you at all. So please come to the microphone. For those of you who have spoken, you've been eloquent. Thank you for that. If it'd be more comfortable, guys, if you have a portable mic, and whoever wants to talk, get up in front of everybody. Thank you, Jacob. Are you going to speak up there, or? Oh, okay. Thank you, ma'am. Yep.
Well, like I said to Rick when he first got here, Patty and I used to sit next to each other back, not the back pew because Dinkles were behind us, but we sat there together. And the one thing I'll never forget was when Al and Shelley got married and the excitement in his mom's face and life to know that she was going to have that daughter-in-law and then the grandkids. So I know the blessing that you were to her.
My name is Helen Hall, and my husband died last November, and I was gone for about a month through Christmas. And when I got home, the first thing I did was open up Christmas cards and a few sympathy cards. And there was this lovely card from Pat, because we saw each other at church here. And I thought, oh, how thoughtful of her to do that. The next Sunday I came to church, and there in the church bulletin, there was a couple of lines mentioning that Patty had died. And my heart just dropped when I read that in the church bulletin that she had gone, because we'd known each other for so long when it was Anchorage High, the only high school in Anchorage at that time. So I'm so impressed with her family. She has a lovely, lovely family. Thank you.
Anybody else? Oh, okay. Listen to my
Thanks. right. Annika, Be Thou My Vision, one of my favorite hymns.
If you are able to stand, please stand for the only hymn. If you can't, that's fine too.
My true mind, thou my soul shelter, and thou my high tower. Raise thou me heavenward, O power of my power. Riches I heed not, nor vain empty praise. Thou mine inheritance, now and always. Thou and thou only be first in my heart. High King of heaven, my treasure, my art. High King of heaven, my victory won. May I reach heaven's joys, O bright heaven's sun. Heart of my own heart, whatever befall, still be my vision, O ruler of all. Excellent, thank you. David, please be seated.
I know that I didn't talk during the time that we were supposed to talk, but when I think of Patty, I think of her house. And whenever we go to her house, they built that house stone by stone, and you know, as soon as you walk into their house, that they have that connection to it. When you'd go into their house, it'd feel like Grandma's house. You'd come in, and she'd just run up to you as fast as she could, which isn't very fast. Annika would usually beat me, but afterward, I'd get the second hug, and she'd always be so joyful. Whenever I'd come in, I'd be like, oh, this is just a place of refuge. This is on a weekend after a basketball game. I could go there, and I know that there's a couch I can sleep in. There's a show that I could watch with her at night, and it was just such a blessing to be there, and she was just such a joy. But right now, I will read John 14, 1 through 7. Let not your hearts be troubled. Believe in God. Believe also in me. In my Father's house there are many rooms. If it were not so, would I have told you that I go to prepare a place for you? And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and I will take you to myself, that where I am, you may also be also. And you know the way to where I am going. Thomas said to him, Lord, we do not know where you are going. How could we know the way? Jesus said to him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. If you had known me, you would have known my Father also. From now on, you do know him and have seen him. Now Psalms 121. A song of askance. I lift my eyes to the hills. Where does my help from come? My help comes from the Lord, who made heaven and earth. He will not let your foot be moved. He who keeps you will not slumber. Behold, he who keeps Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is your keeper. The Lord is your shade on your right hand. The sun shall not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will keep you from all evil, and he will keep your life. The Lord will keep you your going out and your coming in from this time forth and forevermore. Thank you.
Patty is in heaven right now, smiling at all of us here. You spoke well. And I'm sure she's saying, because I'm a grandparent, those are my grandkids. Aren't they amazing? And you are. You're both so mature, so wonderful. Into your hands, O merciful Savior, we commend your servant Patty. Acknowledge, we humbly beseech you, a sheep of your own fold, a lamb of your own flock, a sinner of your own redeeming. Receive her into the arms of your mercy, into the blessed rest of everlasting peace, and into the glorious company of the saints in light. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord look upon you with favor, and at this time when we are grieving and sad, bring you peace. Prelude. Thanks. We're going to let you go out now. We'll let the family go out first so they can go downstairs and be ready to greet you all.
And also folks dibs on food.
Dibs on food. I don't see any pockets in that dress for you to put food.
When there's a will, there's a way.
Again, thank you for being here on this sunny afternoon when we enjoyed a sunny personality. Go in peace and serve the Lord.